What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. For this week's video, it's gonna be something a little different, but I think you guys will love this one because I'm starting a new series and this is gonna be episode 1 of high protein meals that I cook as a fit girl who doesn't cut her bulk. And what that means is I'm gonna be taking you through some of my favorite meals that I make and or cook regularly throughout the week. And these are meals that are high protein, yet it's not necessarily diet food, because I know in the fitness industry, we're surrounded by people that are constantly like, the lowest fat recipe this, like 0 fat this, or 0 carb this, or keto that, or animal diet this. Like, I eat very intuitively. If you guys have followed me on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube for a while, right? You guys know that I don't cut or bulk. I don't diet. I just eat intuitively and I balance out my macros, my micronutrients. I have high protein, I have my carbs, I have my fats, I have my greens. Like, you know, I have all that in a well-balanced state. And the food that I cook isn't gross. Like, it's very tasty, and it's just here to show you, like, I hope this series, as you follow along, really shows you and teaches you guys that like you can live a really healthy and balanced lifestyle while still enjoying and eating and cooking the foods that you really love. And healthy food doesn't necessarily have to taste gross, or healthy food doesn't necessarily always have to be deemed what the fitness industry deems as healthy. You know what I mean? With that being said, I'm gonna show you in today's episode 1 a favorite breakfast, a favorite lunch, and a favorite dinner that I really enjoy making. Let's go. We are starting with breakfast. Okay, this is one of my favorite breakfasts that I've been making like for a while, and I alternate with my breakfasts, right? So in episode 1, this is gonna be one of my favorite breakfasts, but stay tuned for all the other episodes when I make my other favorite breakfasts. This one is gonna be a mushroom and onion omelet. I literally love omelets. Like, you guys know when you go away or like to an all-inclusive resort or something like that, and you go to the omelet station, or you just go to like, you know, your local breakfast spot and you order an omelet. My favorite is like make your own omelet, and I always love mushrooms, onions, and some cheese. Unfortunately, I ran out of cheese this week. It's Monday today, and I was supposed to go grocery shopping, and I literally forgot to go out and buy cheese. So I would add cheese to my omelet, so please keep that in mind when I'm making this. I just don't have cheese right now in my fridge. But yes, let's start with a high protein mushroom and onion omelet. And if you don't like mushrooms, grow up. Grow up. So I'm gonna start by cutting the onions. You guys can learn some cooking technique today. Not to say I'm like Gordon Ramsay or anything, but you're gonna cut off both sides of your onion here. Okay, put it to the side. Cut it in half, and then you're gonna peel the skin off once you cut it in half, so that you're just revealed with a really nice, clear onion. Okay, now that you have them in halves, we're gonna cut them in slivers. We're not dicing the onions for the omelet, we're doing like slivered onions because we're gonna cook it down. It's gonna be nice, like how you would cook like French onion soup onions, slivers. Okay, cool. See, slivers like this. And same thing with the other half. Oh my gosh, I'm crying. Every time I cut onions, like, I've tried everything possible when I'm cutting onions, guys. I put on goggles. I put on my swim goggles, literally. I've like tried to like hold my breath. It doesn't do anything. You know why? Because I think onion fumes, it's going up your nose, even if you are holding your breath. Like, I don't know. I've tried every possible way to like cheat the system on how to not cry when cutting onions, and can't help it, I just get emotional. Now that we have our onions and slivers, which should have taken you like 2 seconds. By the way, all these like high protein meals shouldn't take us very long. I'm a 25-year-old girl, okay? I'm not like a professional mom and dad type cook yet. So all my meals are like pretty like friendly for like 25-year-olds or like, you know, young adults on the go that need to make meals that are tasty, but also not like super freaking long to make. Unless it's like a special meal. Maybe we'll make like a special meal one time in the series where it'll be like a long odyssey of a recipe, and it'll be delicious and very long to make though. Anyways, we have our mushrooms. Cut off the little tip of the stem here so that gross part's gone, and then we're gonna like do it in slivers, same way like the onions. So just cut off the little end pieces. I know some people like to like dust off their mushrooms or whatever. I don't really care. It's gonna get cooked anyways. It's not like it's like raw mushrooms going into like a salad, right? You have to keep in mind, we're like also, this is like breakfast. You wanna be like kind of making your breakfast quick. Like, although breakfast is, you know, you want it to be tasty, you also want it to be pretty efficient, especially if you're on the go or like you just don't wanna spend hours making breakfast. Slivered like the onions. Now we have our onions and our mushrooms here. I'm gonna throw this in the compost. Clean as you go is my motto for cooking because I really hate it piling up. And then I constantly wash my hands. That's because I'm a germ freak, to be honest with you. Yeah, you guys will notice in this series, I'm like a consistent hand washer. There's one thing about me being in the kitchen, I really like my hands feeling as clean as possible in between all prep and especially touching raw meat. Disgusting. I'm gonna get these eggs pre-cracked. So I have 3 eggs here, okay? And egg whites. Stop being afraid of eggs. This is more so for my girls out there that are in their fitness journey. I know guys love their eggs for the most part. Guys will eat like 7 eggs, 10 eggs a day. But girls, I feel like there's this whole thing around like, oh, eggs are too high fat, like eat egg whites instead. I used to do that all the time, okay? So as someone that used to be like on a hard like egg white kick, like just eating egg whites is actually not very beneficial or like satiating or healthy in the long run. It just feels like you're constantly dieting because I get it. Egg whites are a really high protein option that are super low calorie. Like the macros are insane and it's like basically no calories for the amount of protein that you're getting. But at the same time, you're missing your omega-3s when you go for egg whites instead of egg, right? So a way to implement your higher protein at a lower calorie range whilst still getting your omega-3s and like your healthy vitamins and still getting your satiating fats, still eat your eggs and do a splash of egg whites. Getting the best of both worlds. More protein on the eggs because you've added the egg whites and you're getting satiating fat from the egg and omega-3s by adding in your eggs to the egg whites. It's like harmonious. I'm gonna crack, guys, I'm not gonna lie, don't judge me. I don't crack eggs with one hand like a chef. I do it with 2 hands. Okay, 1. And yes, you guys are probably like, well, Maddie, that's a lot of eggs for you, like 3 eggs a day. Yeah, guys, sometimes I have like 5. Sometimes I'll have like 3 in the morning and then 2 more at night or something. Depends how I'm eating. Like what I eat in a day look a little different. Like I definitely don't eat the same every day. It's crazy. I eat like new snacks and meals every day, which is kind of weird. Splash of egg whites, no measurements, no dieting, don't care. Just want extra protein. Okay, I don't know. It was probably like a 1/4 cup, I don't know. Also, this would be the point that I would add the cheese when it's like, I'll whisk the cheese in with the eggs, but I don't have cheese today. So just gonna whisk it until this turns into like nicely scrambled, nicely mixed. Just really fast until the eggs are completely mixed and the yolk is completely not separate from the whites anymore. Okay, cool. So it should look like that. Nice yellow bowl of eggs and egg whites. Cool. So that's preset to the side. I actually will salt and pepper it now whilst it's in there. I got these from Costco. It's so cool. Guys, I'm typically the traditional just like, you know, work for my salt and pepper, like grind it out. But I got these from Costco recently. They were on sale for like 29 bucks Canadian dollars, meaning if it's in the US, it's even cheaper. Okay. And I was like, damn, gotta get these. And they're so awesome. It's gravity activated. You literally just flip it upside down and like the salt and pepper grind. Cool, instead of me constantly twisting to get the salt and pepper out. So I'm just gonna salt like that, and then pepper, maybe a little bit more salt. I like salt, whatever. And then mix that one more time, just quickly. Salt and peppered mixed eggs are there. My pre-sliced mushrooms and onions are here. Now we're gonna head over to the stove and start sauteing our onions and mushrooms and quickly finish up this breakfast. I have my nonstick pan. Get a medium-sized nonstick pan because with omelets you want like a bigger surface area. So I have a medium-sized pan here and I love this one. I got this set from Costco. I think it's called like Blue Diamond Steel or something like that. But anyways, these are really good nonstick pans. I have the butter here. I'm gonna turn on the heat as well. I can't stress this enough. Medium-low heat. Cut butter. Again, no measurements, just a good slab of butter, I don't know. Slab of butter there. And we're gonna let it melt. I kind of like do it with my butter knife here. Make sure your pan is nicely coated in that good slab of butter that you put in. And it's completely melted before you throw in your onions and your mushrooms. We're gonna throw them in together at the same time because onions and mushrooms pretty much cook at a similar rate. So one doesn't really need to be added in before the other or vice versa. They cook very similarly at the same speed. So get also something, guys, like I just use a Betty Crocker from Dollarama type spatula. That's also like safe for nonstick pans. Do not use metal against nonstick pans. That's how you're gonna fuck up your nonstick pans. Okay, on medium-low heat, we're gonna cook down the mushrooms and onions until our liking, and then we'll add the eggs. Salt and pepper your mushrooms and onions when it's in the pan. Okay. I would keep on this stuff, like keep on it, meaning like don't walk away from it, because you don't want your onions and mushrooms to just like sizzle and burn. It's one of those where you kind of just like have to keep mixing around, sauteing it as it's cooking to get that perfect kind of like caramelized, reduced onion mushroom vibe. It cooks really fast though. Like it's already, look how much it's reduced since I threw them in the pan and like it was like full with raw mushrooms and onions. It does cook down really fast. So it is a very efficient vegetable, or vegetables plural, to work with for breakfast. It's really nice. And technically you could stop here if this is how you like it. Like these are like fully cooked and fully nice and like translucent and soft now. And you could just like set them aside now, but I like them a little bit more brown. I like them a little bit more caramelized. So I'm gonna keep cooking it down a little bit longer. But you could technically stop it here, especially if you're in a rush. This is fine too. See, medium low heat, this is why I say medium low heat, guys, too. It prevents your food from burning. It's just like a very not aggressive heat to cook with for vegetables specifically, aromatic specifically, so like garlic and onions, mushrooms, veggies. Like when you're searing meat, that's when like I put things on like high, or when you're like have to boil things, that's when I put things on high. This should be good, guys. I'm liking the way it is now. It's a little bit brown. It's translucent and a little bit brown. Perfect combo for me. So now I'm gonna get a plate, just a small one, kind of pile it up on here. And I'm gonna put all this cooked down mushroom and onion onto the plate. Oh. See? So once it's cooked down, I actually take it off the heat and set it aside. I don't just leave it in. You can leave it in too if you want, but I take it off first, because I want to cook my eggs at a lower heat separately. So we're going to turn down the heat to low, because we're just coming from medium low, and medium low might be too hot. The thing is, the way I cook my eggs, I don't like my eggs to be super like fried up. Like I like them to be like slow, like slowly cook it. Makes them fluffier, and it makes them more like how French people make their omelets. It's really nice and like soft, if that makes sense. I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking shit, I don't know. More butter. There's still butter in the pan from when we cooked the onions and mushrooms, but I add more butter. Again, hence why these are high protein meals that don't suck, because I don't care how much butter I add continuously or how many times, because we're not watching our fat over here, all right, guys? Like fats are good for you. Everyone needs to stop saying fats are bad for you. Add more butter, and on low heat, add our whisked, salt and peppered eggs and egg whites. Okay, and stay on top of this again. Stay on top of it. When I say stay on top of it, I mean this. What you're gonna do is you're gonna continuously mix it. This cooks really fast, that's why. This is like a really, really quick way to cook a fluffy egg. So on very low heat, sometimes I take it off the heat, because it's gonna cook really, you see how I keep mixing it? When you keep mixing it like this, trust me, this is how you're gonna make a really nice, fluffy, not overcooked, not undercooked, but just the perfectly cooked eggs. You wanna keep mixing and mixing and mixing like that on the very, very low heat. And if the heat is still too high, take it off the heat and keep mixing. When I make Nick this style of eggs, he loves it. Because Nick's dad is a chef, Nick is actually the one that taught me how to make eggs this way, like very fluffy. Because I used to make it how I feel like most people make it, which is like you just like fry up the egg and you don't care how much it's cooked or whatever. But now I like, once you eat eggs like this, you don't really want to go back. Okay, so I'm gonna spread it out now a little bit to like kind of reform it into an omelet, if that makes sense. Like a flat, almost one united egg thing again. You see how I mixed it up so much? It made it kind of like a soft scramble, but now I'm like flattening it out against the sides of the nonstick pan to make like this. Oh, I dripped on the stove. Strategically gonna add our onions and mushrooms back. Now, right in the center of our little fluffy eggs, we're gonna add onions and mushrooms, okay? See, I made enough onions and mushrooms to actually serve 2 people in an omelet, to be honest. This is how much I would make when I'm making 2 omelets for Nick and I. So now that it's in the center, this is how I do it. I don't know if you guys are chefs watching this, this is how I do it. It turns out really nice. I'm gonna kind of spread it out almost like a burrito. And I'm gonna slowly flip over the omelet until it's kind of like covered, the mushrooms and onions. Sometimes it works really nice. On other days, oh, you see that? It's working good today. Are you guys seeing this? Do you see how there's no like brown or sear on the eggs? It's like really soft and fluffy. Oh, I just broke it. Whatever. At this point, whatever. I'm not perfect, but it broke a little, but it's fine. It did really well for the most part. See? And there we go. Besides the fact that it broke a little bit when I was flipping it over, that's the omelet. Literally took no time at all. Get a plate. We're just gonna slowly Guys, for a non-chef slash fitness influencer, which some people make fun of fitness influencers, and I don't blame you, this is pretty good. I'm not even joking, that's really good. Guys, I know how to cook, come on, I know how to cook. For someone that's like not a chef, it's like omurice. You guys see those like viral videos? That's it, literally the egg is done. Kind of shift it there to the other side of the plate. Now that the egg is done though, we're not over yet because we're not just gonna eat eggs, mushrooms, and onions. I like to eat that with like toast, butter, and honey. So I'm gonna make that because it's one of my favorite breakfasts. So now, again, clean as you go. Let's put away the stuff that we used. Now, we make our toast. Typically, because I'm showing you guys how to make this today, this would be done at the same time that our egg is cooking. So pretend the egg is cooking right now and things. So it's all ready at the same time. But because this is my first time filming a cooking video, I'm doing things a little bit like choppy because I'm trying to like, you know, show you guys and like talk to you guys. So it's okay. But pretend you're doing this at the same time while your mushrooms and onions are cooking or while your like omelet is kind of like cooking, whatever. I love this brand of bread. And I know a lot of you guys are from the States or all over the world, not just Canada, but in Canada, in Toronto, this bread called Dimflameyer is available at No Frills, Costco, and Walmart, and a lot of stores in Canada, and Loblaws and stuff like that. So all my Canadians, I know you've seen this in the grocery store. It's one of my favorites, light rye. Again, sometimes there are amazing diet hacks that I include into my like meals and stuff like that. Doesn't mean I'm a diet freak, just saying like it is pretty great macros. Like you're getting 2 slices for 140 calories, meaning it's 70 calories per slice of toast. It is one of my favorite toasts. Other days, I don't care about this at all and I want the higher calorie toast just based on flavor. That's what I'm saying. Like just because I got this and it's like happens to be lower calorie doesn't mean I'm like fully opting for that because of the calories alone. Like no, I will literally go and get the Country Harvest Oats and Honey toast. It's like 200 calories for 2 slices or 220 calories for 2 slices, but it's so good. Has like whole grains in it and it's like sweet because it has honey in it. It's so yummy. So this and the Country Harvest Oats and Honey are like my favorite toasts ever. But right now we happen to have this in the house because we were craving this toast for this week. So the light rye it is. Light rye is really nice for like making sandwiches and having it with butter, I find. In the toaster, I put it on like a level 5 and down. And now we just wait. You know that elf scene where it just like, he's twirling the Jack in the Box and then it pops up? Soon the toast is gonna pop up in my face. Okay, it's done. Guys, to me, this is the perfect toast. Look at this. Oh my God, it's like golden crispy brown. I love this toaster. I just got this toaster, it's so nice. It's like the perfect crispy brown, like level 5, and look at this. This is like the way I like my toast. Now, while it's hot, this is key, while it's hot. We don't play around. Get your butter. You guys are probably like, damn, like she really didn't care about butter. No, I don't care about butter. Like, get your butter. Oh, it's like perfectly toasted. Butter. Natural honey from Costco. Please, Costco, sponsor me. I literally shop at your grocery store every single week. Please sponsor me. Kirkland, anybody? But anyways, against that Costco, I think this was on sale for like $9.99 for all this like natural honey, and it's very tasty. Organic honey is always like the best option, trust me. It's worth the money. And I just do a drizzle. Now this is the perfect morning meal to start your day, to keep you satiated, to keep you healthy and happy because you're getting your fats from not only the eggs, but like the butter, you're getting your micronutrients from the mushrooms, the onions, and you would also be getting some fat from the cheese because I usually sprinkle cheese in this, but I just don't have cheese. You're getting your carbs from the honey, which is a very organic, natural source of carbs. It is like very sweet, but at the same time, honey is a natural source of sugar. So you're getting your carbs from your honey and you're getting your carbs from your rye toast, and you're getting your high protein, not only from the eggs, but you're getting high protein from the egg whites as well. And rye also has a good amount of protein in it. I don't know exactly how much protein's in the rye bread, but also like you guys have to keep in mind, like what makes things high protein too is having balanced plates. When you have a balanced plate, you realize that like, okay, the main source of protein, yes, is coming from the protein that you have on your plate, but also like the little bits of protein and other things like your carb sources or even your vegetables and whatever else might be on your plate does add up in little grams of protein. So this is a very high protein, healthy, satiating meal that I love eating regularly. It's very delicious, and who doesn't like a nice warm omelet and toast with butter and honey? Super underrated. All right, guys, we are back for lunch. And we are gonna make one of my all-time favorite lunches that I've been making for years and 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 years. 10 hours later. I've been making this forever. It is open-faced tuna salad sandwiches. Before you're like, I hate tuna, like all the tuna haters out there that are like, tuna's disgusting, like I'm clicking off now. Guys, I know how to make a good, mean tuna salad sandwich, all right? I promise you, if you're a tuna hater out there, this will change your mind. It'll change your perspective completely. This is the best tuna frickin' sandwich salad recipe you'll ever have in your life. Sorry to all your moms out there that make mean tunas. I think she has some competition now. Literally, this is Nick's like favorite. Like when I make him this tuna salad sandwich, open face sandwich, whatever you want to call it, he like goes crazy for it. He loves this. He has this on the regular. Like he probably has this at least a couple times a week. Nick will eat this because he always asks me to make it for him for lunch. He loves it so much. So you're gonna get a nice hefty green onion. If your green onions are not this fat, get two sprigs of green onions. Because this is so fat, we're just gonna use one. Now we're gonna get our celery. I just open things with aggression and don't bother untying it. 2 sprigs. I like a lot of celery, it's yummy. Okay, tuna doesn't have to be gross and boring, guys, and it also doesn't have to be an odyssey to make either. Like this tuna recipe always takes me like, I don't know, 10 minutes. Like really, it takes me no time at all. Same with the egg recipe we made earlier. That took me literally like 10 to 12 minutes, probably even shorter on some days when I'm just like rushing and just going crazy. But these are all like 10, like lunch and breakfast, 10, 12 minutes, like really nothing. Grab a nice sprig of parsley. This is Italian curly parsley. You can get the regular parsley too, but I like curly parsley. Okay, that's a good amount of parsley. A lemon and 2 cans of tuna if you're cooking for somebody else. I usually have a can to myself, Nick has a can to himself. Let's start with the veggies and stuff. First, I'm gonna like lightly rinse my parsley and other veggies in cold water. Dry up the parsley. Now that your veggies are nice and washed, we're gonna start with the parsley. Okay, you're gonna you see how I'm kind of just like being aggressive and bunching it up like that? That's exactly how you wanna cut your parsley or like your nice herbs. You wanna kind of like get them really in a bunch. Hold it really firmly down against the chopping board, and then we're gonna like finely chop it. Okay, and then you're gonna go the opposite way now. After that initial like bunch where I held it firmly, then you can kind of just let it loosen up and just cut. This is a really garbage cutting board, by the way. If you hear it rocking or going back and forth or it looks curved, I don't know, like it was supposed to be a real wood, but it obviously is like stupid. So chop it as finely as you like. Sometimes I rough chop it. Some days I like it really fine like this. Set it to the side here. Now, celery. Cut off the ends, the gross ends of your celery, okay? And the tips here, the tips, you wanna cut these off too. So there, that's off. Now you're gonna cut the celery down the middle to make them more of a bite-sized piece. So now they're like even smaller, kind of cut them into 4. And now we're just gonna go cut them into like 1/4-inch pieces down. Okay, see that? Our nice sprig of green onion. Again, most green onions are not this fat, so I would get 2 sprigs of skinny green onions to have that nice oniony taste. Cut off that gross little hair part of the green onion. I like to make that a little bit skinnier by cutting it down the center, similar like the celery, and kind of just like whatever, roughly, just very rough. And then we're gonna go and do like the 1/4-inch pieces again, like very finely chop the green onion. And then of course, guys, please always watch your fingers. I always get a little too close for my liking. Green onions, celery, parsley. Oh, I'm getting a hand cramp. I'm getting a hand cramp. Parsley, celery, green onions, done. Lemon, please rinse. I like to wash it with soap. Call me freaking weird. Again, I'm a germaphobe, whatever. Once your lemon is washed or soaped and washed, however you like to wash your lemon, cut it in half. And that's it. And then I kind of just take off the seeds a little bit, whichever surface seeds are showing. And we're not gonna squeeze it yet. Now, we are going to open our cans of tuna. I get any chunk light or flaked light tuna in water. Sometimes I get it in broth and oil, but I don't usually buy like tuna just in the straight up oil unless like I want that like oil flavor. Again, I'm not trying to avoid the calories or fat or anything like that. I just prefer the chunk light tuna in water because you're kind of just dealing with like a watered base, and then you can add like other flavors of fats into it, whatever. But anyways, I get chunk like tuna and water. That's my favorite one. Flake like tuna and water is all right, but I find the flake like tuna and water is a little bit too mushy. The chunk like tuna and water is actually like more stiff and chunky, which I like better, and it's just a better texture overall to consume. So I would recommend chunk like tuna and water to anybody. But now that we've opened it, I'm gonna take you guys over to the sink and I'm gonna drain the tuna in the sink. So you're just gonna press the lid like really firmly against the tuna in there, and you're gonna squeeze the lid. That's literally how I drain tuna. But look, it works. I don't know how you guys drain, but look, no singular drop of water left, okay? Same thing now, the other one. There. Okay guys, now that we've our drained canned tunas here, we're gonna put both of them in the bowl. Medium bowl, medium, smallish, whatever. Enough to fit all these tunas. And then thoroughly wash your hands after you touch up all that tuna. Otherwise, your hands and your nails are gonna just stink like fish. Tuna in the bowl. Everything else in the bowl. Now squeeze the lemon. Okay, just remove any of the excess seeds that fall into there, or try to catch the seeds. Sometimes I place my hand over the bowl like this. If any seeds come flying out, my hand catches it, but the juice goes in the bowl. Lemon. Oh, this one doesn't seem to have many seeds, which is actually nice. I'm gonna go in there and squeeze it out. Go in there and squeeze it out. Lemon squeezed to the brim. Now, all the veggies that we chopped up, so that's parsley, celery, green onions, in the bowl. Cool. All the greens are in. Now, we're gonna add all the condiments. Sriracha, mustard, half-fat mayo, relish, pepper. And then we put the lemon in there already. That's all you need to make this the most delicious tuna salad ever. Let's put our sriracha for a good amount of spice and flavor. Mustard, but we don't want the mustard juice, like the water, the mustard water. Always shake your mustard and ketchup. Mustard. Relish. I would usually use a spoon. See? You don't need a spoon with everything. Now we'll get a spoon for this though. No measurements, guys. Again, not too picky on how much of what sugars, fats that I put into stuff. Kind of just eyeball my measurements. Especially with cooking, you gotta cook with love. You gotta cook with mind, heart, soul, love, you know? Just do to what you wanna taste, you know? It doesn't always have to be like measuring scale this and that. Unless you're literally baking, okay, that's the only time, baking, you actually have to follow the recipe, okay? Baking is so key. If you don't follow the recipe, all your stuff's gonna come out like fucked up. You gotta literally follow the measurements on baking, okay? I don't play around with the baking. Okay, so whatever, I did 3 big dollops of half-fat mayo. And then pepper. I'm not adding salt. First of all, canned tuna, we all know, is notorious for having a lot of salt in it already. And at the same time, the mustard and the sriracha have salt in those too. So you don't need to add salt, otherwise you're just gonna be dealing with you're straight up drinking the ocean now. Just chill on the salt. Now, we mix everything together and we kind of again, we eyeball and see. If I feel like it's too dry, if I feel like it's lacking something, I will add something. I've never had a recipe for my recipe. Isn't that so funny? I've literally never had a recipe for my recipe. This is my OG, notorious recipe amongst my family and friends and Nick. And they know I never measure anything, and I always do a little bit of tweaks to it. Sometimes I put kimchi in this. I do a little bit of tweaks to it every single time. Sometimes I'll make I'll chop up kimchi, I'll chop up fresh pickles, and I'll literally put that in here. Sometimes I'll put chop up olives, Kalamata olives, and put this in here. It's different every time, but today I'm showing you my standard way of making it. This is how I pretty much make it all the time when I'm in a rush, need to get this done in 10 minutes, and I'm not trying to make it super fancy. So the only fancy things that I added were green onions and parsley and celery, but the celery is a non-negotiable, that needs to be in there. At the end of it all, this is how your tuna salad should look. Okay? I don't think it's missing anything. Let's try it. Maybe a little bit more lemon, but other than that, it's perfect. Every single time. And the only reason I'm saying a little bit more lemon is because I've made this recipe so many times that I knew when I grabbed that lemon today, I was like, that lemon looks kind of small. It doesn't look like it's gonna have a lot of juice, because usually I use really juicy lemons. But other than that, it's perfect. I got my ratios down. Now I gotta toast some bread. I'm gonna leave the sriracha out because I like to top it off with sriracha at the end. I like spicy. Okay, we have our toasted pieces of toast. Yes, we are eating toast again. I love toast. Who doesn't like bread? Anyways, who doesn't love carbs? I'm a carby Barbie. Okay guys, we have our toasted bread. Now I'm gonna layer this on, okay? Oh my God, yummy. And there we have it, my open-faced tuna salad sandwich recipe. I make it a bunch of different ways every now and then, but this is the very standard way that I make it pretty much all the time, especially when it's like the quickest, most like simple way of doing it for me. This is my simple version. And it's so delicious. It's a standard in my diet all the time. Like, considering I do eat a bunch of different things every single day, like, and switch up my lunches and dinners and all that stuff, this is still one of my staple lunches. Like, I always come back to this guy because he's so yummy and it's just so high protein as well. One can of tuna has about like 24 grams to 30 grams of protein. So about a can of tuna on this alone, you're already getting your like 24 to 30 grams of protein. With some of the mayo, again, with some of the other stuff like the bread, that also adds up in protein. So this is about a 30 to 40 gram protein meal, just this right here. It's actually on the lower fat side, to be honest, because we did use half fat mayo, and there's not much other fat in this because tuna is a very low fat protein. It's very high in protein, very low in fat, so the macros in that are really great. And then you're getting your carbs from the bread, you're getting a little bit of fat from the half fat mayo, not too much. So if you are looking for a low fat, like light on the stomach type lunch, that's gonna keep you really full, really satiated, and it's a very high protein option. This is a very great lunch that I make all the time and I love it. So this is actually on the lower fat side and pretty low carb, to be honest, because I'm using the light rye toast again. That is 140 calories for 2 slices. So very great diet food if you do cut or you do diet, but again, I'm not cutting or bulking. This is just something I love to eat. I eat very intuitively, and this one happens to be very healthy and I love it. So good. You will never hate tuna again after you eat this, guys. You'll never hate tuna again. So good, so tasty. It doesn't even taste like it's low fat or a high protein healthy meal. It doesn't even taste like a healthy meal, it just tastes delicious. Okay guys, it's dinner time. For dinner, we're gonna be making something super quick, easy, and very tasty, and something that doesn't suck. And it's very great for beginners too that are honestly trying to make a seafood dish and are still kind of like new in the kitchen and want to make something very tasty and not screw it up. This is very easy and you won't screw it up. It's very yummy. It is garlic butter shrimp. Today's day seems to be more pescatarian unintentionally because we had tuna for lunch and now shrimp for dinner. And it's just, yeah, whatever. It's like a more seafoody day, but stick around for the series if you want to see all my other recipes with chicken, beef, all that good stuff. So anyways, let's get into it. First, get your garlic cloves. This meal is honestly so good, guys, if you're like trying to make a really quick dinner that's really tasty. I'm not even kidding you. I'm not even trying to say it's quick and efficient. Like, it's honestly a really quick meal to make, and it's very, very tasty. And again, one of my favorite high protein meals because I love shrimp. I'm a shrimp lover. So you can get pre-peeled garlic to save you even more time, but I figured because I have this garlic here in the house, which I usually use the garlic cloves actually, I don't usually use pre-peeled garlic or pre-chopped garlic. I like fresh garlic like actually in the garlic clove or garlic bunch, whatever you call it, but I can show you guys how to like chop it up and make it quick. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, it's very garlicky, so hence garlic butter shrimp. I'm using a lot of garlic. I'm gonna use the big cloves though to make it easier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna use 6. 6 decently sized cloves, okay? This is 1 tiny one. So 5 big cloves and 1 medium-sized clove. For this recipe, actually, you don't even need onions for this one. This one, you just need garlic. So cut the ends of your garlic here on each end. Cut the tips of your garlic and then set that aside just quickly. We'll do that for all of them here. I find that shrimp is also a very like pretty affordable seafood protein to get. I know salmon and like whitefish and a lot of other shellfish and whatever can get very pricey, but shrimp is one of the very like lower end price seafoods that are very high protein, low in fat, and very tasty in my opinion. Some people hate shrimp because I know it's a bottom feeder, but I love shrimp, so grow up. Again, if you don't like shrimp, grow up. Trick to peeling garlic really quick instead of spending time like this trying to peel it. Once you've cut the ends off, put your knife on top and slam down. Every single piece of skin just peeled off just from slamming it. Set that aside. Again, it just quickly unravels when you slam it. Okay guys, so now we are going to crush it and make it into a nice fine paste with the garlic crusher. Or if you have a mortar and pestle, which I also have, you can quickly throw it in the mortar and pestle and crush it until it becomes like a full paste. Now we're gonna cut up our broccoli and just get that ready for when we have to boil it. I'm just gonna cut off the stems here. Just rough, you don't need to just throw the broccoli in like that. Doesn't have to be perfectly chopped. Just cut the end off here basically. Roughly taken apart broccoli that we're gonna throw in a boiling pot of water towards the end because it only takes about 4 minutes to like blanch / cook the broccoli through. Get your lemons. Usually it would be nice one juicy lemon, but the lemons I got from the grocery store are obviously very sad. Like this is small and juiceless. So I have 2 lemons. I'm just gonna cut in half. Oh my God, maybe I should get 3. Like what is this? What is this? Why is it this small? I have a pre-peeled bowl of shrimp here that I kind of just got out of the way earlier. It took me about maybe 12 minutes to peel the shrimp. So if you have time during the day or earlier in the day when your shrimp is defrosted to pre-peel it before you start making dinner, that'll save you on time. So this is pre-peeled, but I did leave 4 pieces unpeeled so I could show you guys. If you are unfamiliar with peeling shrimp, I could show you guys how to quickly peel shrimp very efficiently. You're gonna get the shrimp and you see the top of the shrimp. I'm gonna start peeling it from there. And then I'm gonna like rip it down to the belly. And then right where the tail is, I'm gonna lightly rip it off. This one was like giving me trouble. This is not a good, oh, there. And then you just kind of lightly rip the tail off. You see how the tail is still intact? I feel like a lot of people just get aggressive and rip it off, and then this little piece of the shrimp, they rip off the tail. But if you're gentle and you rip it off in the nice angled way, you don't waste any of the protein on the shrimp. Don't waste your protein. Don't waste the tail of the shrimp, guys. So see, that took me like 2 seconds. Again, I'm gonna do it very quickly here. Done. Done. I'm going to actually, because this is defrosted shrimp, like I said, guys, I defrosted this. This was pre-frozen shrimp. There is a little bit of that wetness to it. You know what I mean? It is part of the shrimp juices too. It's not just like the, you know, the defrosted ice, but there is some wetness to the shrimp, some slime, and I want to dry it and pat dry it as much as I can so that the seasonings stick to it better, and so that when I'm searing it in the pan, it sears better to you. The drier it is, the easier the sear will be. Paper towel here. I'm just going to literally, you see how it's kind of like absorbing some of the slime, the shrimp slime. I'm just gonna like literally pat it up and dry it as much as I can. Absorb the bottom of the bowl, some of the shrimp liquid, and make it as dry as I can. This is a pretty liquidy batch of shrimp, I'm not gonna lie. It's not gonna be perfect, guys. Just try and get it as patted down as you can. Get your salt, your pepper, paprika or smoked paprika, don't have that today. Garlic powder, bang bang seasoning, love this guy. You can get this at Costco, by the way, this size especially, Costco. And then oregano leaves, that's all. We're not using the lemon or the whole garlic cloves yet, and we're not gonna put olive oil or butter on this yet. That's gonna wait for the cooking. So let's season it up. No measurements, measure with your heart. Pepper, salt, paprika. Be generous with the paprika. Garlic powder. You don't have to be overly generous with this because we have a lot of fresh garlic cloves. Bang bang seasoning. I'm gonna be pretty generous with this one. And then oregano. I'm gonna get tongs and I'm gonna mix this up and let it marinate while we work on our rice and other stuff. So guys, because I don't have a rice cooker yet, we're gonna do the classic OG Asian method of doing this. I'm gonna do the finger measurement method. But first we gotta rinse our rice. So I don't even have a cup for the rice to measure properly. I literally eyeballed this again until I have a rice cooker because, you know, I'm just using a pot for now. So I'm going to rinse out the rice until the water is less murky and, you know, rinse it maybe like 3-ish times. And then I'm gonna like stick my finger in there and then measure it that way. Cold water rinse, cold water rinse. Like, you know, I always assume people know this, but just in case you don't, you never know. You wanna rinse your rice solely for the reason that you wanna remove any like maybe dirt or impurities that might be in the rice, but also because you wanna remove some of the excess starch. Okay, it's pretty clean to me. Now we're gonna flatten it out. How I do this is I kind of add water, a premature amount of water, just to make sure it's even in the pot. So how I do this, I'm gonna stick my finger here and I'm going to put my thumb to where the rice basically, so this part is where I need to add water crawling up until it hits this part of my finger, basically, which is a little amount of water, to be honest, but we'll do this. That's finger measurement method, guys. I don't know what else to tell you. Finger measurement method. Now, 15 minutes. Turn it on. Okay. Trick here so your butter doesn't burn, we're gonna do olive oil and butter. Whenever you're cooking with butter, always sprinkle some oil / neutral oil like olive oil. Olive oil is the best, not to be biased, but put olive oil so your butter doesn't burn, okay? Especially because we're gonna be cooking on a high heat here. First, I'm gonna start at a lower heat. A good amount of olive oil to go with the butter. Yummy. I'm actually not gonna add the garlic in right away because I wanna sear the shrimp first. I will add the garlic halfway through cooking. Okay, you see how it's starting to sizzle now, guys? Get your marinated shrimp that we had marinated in there for a while, and we're going to basically just add them in now. Do it in batches so that you're able to get a nice even sear. If you throw everything in at once, especially if you're doing like a bulk size of shrimp or protein, you're not gonna get a proper sear because it's gonna be too overcrowded in the pan. It's getting pretty hot. Shrimp goes in. Shrimp cooks really quick, guys. It cooks really quick. So we're gonna let it sear, then we're gonna flip it, and it's only gonna cook for a couple more minutes. And like, honestly, I feel like shrimp takes a total of like 4 to 6 minutes. Depends how high heat you're cooking it. Okay, already it's good to flip. You see how it has a sear on it already? You see that? Flip them, flip them. I'm gonna slightly lower the heat soon so I can add the garlic without the garlic burning. So now we're gonna grab our chopped up garlic that we did here, but because we're doing it in batches, we get a, appropriate amount going. A good chunky amount of garlic, and we're gonna throw it in here. See, I threw the garlic in more towards the end. I'm gonna lower the heat down to low now because it was cooking on high all that time. You don't want your garlic to burn. So turn the heat down to low and quickly just like cook it up with the shrimp. Now that it's cooking on low, we're gonna finish it off with some lemon. Okay, and now it's time to plate that. Do you guys see that? Yummy. Okay guys, we have our garlic butter shrimp, broccolini, jasmine rice, very well balanced, whole, delicious meal that will, again, keep you satiated, fulfill all the nutrients that you need in this one meal right here for dinner. You're hitting all your macros and micros here with your greens, your protein with your shrimp, and your carbs with your rice. You're getting your fats also from the butter. You saw the butter and olive oil that I added to this. You're getting all the good stuff here, and it's a very delicious dinner. Honestly, takes a very short amount of time too. This takes about 15 to 25 minutes depending if you pre-peel your shrimp or not, but I would say this is about a 15 to 25-minute very quick dinner to make, and it's very healthy and very yummy, because healthy doesn't need to be not yummy, and healthy doesn't also have to be a lack of fats or carbs, which we don't have that here. I dressed up the broccolini with olive oil to finish off, and the shrimp was cooked in a decent hefty amount of olive oil and butter as well, so you can see there's no lack of fats here in our meal. So that concludes today's episode 1 of high protein meals that I cook as a fit girl who doesn't cut her bulk. I really hope you guys give these meals a try. And please let me know in the comments if you really are excited to see the next episode from this series and what recipes or what kind of foods you'd like to see me cook with. Because if you like, say, list something like cook something with ground beef, for example. So just let me know in the comments what you want to see from me next, but I could surprise you in the next episode. Could be something you're not expecting. That's part of my favorite high protein meals. But I will see you guys in episode 2 of this series, and I really hope you enjoyed episode 1, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next one.